Hey Pisces, this is a reading for your astrological sign for the month of April 2025. And we start the month out with a big eclipse in your second house, which happened at the end of March. And that really sets you on a new path and sort of ending one way of earning an income and then really starting a new auspicious beginning, an opportunity coming in, or an idea or a way to make money, a new venture is very inspiring and exciting, a big new opportunity that brings a solid income for a long haul because Saturn is in on this picture. You have Saturn on in your first house. So these changes are life pivotal and much more in alignment with your true authentic self. You may have been really on the wrong path for a while, and this eclipse sort of straightens you out and puts you on a path towards more stability and abundance when the sun moves into Taurus, your third house, where you become very busy, working very hard, earning money, also perhaps coming up with ideas, short distance travel. This is a busy energy. This and the big mid-month is going to be a big turnaround for Pisces. You're going to have the Saturn and the North Node conjoining right on your ascendant, your moon, or your sun. And this is where you make a big life pivotal choice or decision to commit to your dharmic path, to your true calling, your authentic self. It's potentially feels very risky, but this is big winds of change when these two planets meet. It's a 30-year, Saturn is a 30-year cycle. The North Node is an 18-year cycle. They meet it's a very rare conjunction. The last time was in 2013, but it was not in Pisces. The last time in Pisces was 1800s, 1870, something like that. So we're talking about a huge karmic wrap up for Pisces, the complete end of a past life karmic patterning. And now you're starting a new cycle in this life with a cleared slate, with more maturity, because you've had Saturn in your first house. It really grows you up. Really, you take on more responsibilities, feeling much more mature now and capable of being able to sort of tackle this new beginning. There's a new empowered version of you now that can step up to these bigger boots, as it were. Then in again, mid-month, everything shifts in the mid-month. You're going to have Venus and Mercury. They're in your first house right now in a reflective retrograde energy, and they go direct Mercury on the 7th, Venus on the 13th, where you are really reflecting on what you truly desire, what is real and true for you. Most Pisces are artists, so you're probably reflecting on your creative abilities, your creative talents, aligning more with what is a true gift rather than what you thought may have been your true gift. You're really reevaluating also relationships and love, who you love, or learning lessons about being responsible in relationships. Um, and then we're going to a big spiritual breakthrough because when the planets, when Mercury and Venus leave Pisces, that's that Gandanta point where there's this big emotional breakthrough, and then they move into the sign of Aries, into your second house, where you're feeling really go-getter, ready to start these new beginnings, perhaps most likely with a joint soul contracted partnership agreement that you reflected on during the retrograde period to know who were your true people, who can you really rely on and make agreements. If you're a musician, perhaps it's other bandmates that you're now deciding to connect with and make a band and go forward. With all this Aries in your second house, there's this motivation and drive to really secure finances, and this does work. This is the right path, the more authentic path. The eclipses put you onto your more authentic path. And with Saturn in your first house, it wants you on a path that can support you financially for a good 30 years, 29 to 30 years. So then you've got Mars moving from your fifth into your sixth. Wow, that's interesting, where you become of high service and work very, very hard. It looks like mid-April is hard work and you're really focused, nose to the grindstone, very inspired. Again, though, Leo is a creative, inspired energy. So there's some creative of service project that you're fired up about and you can put a lot of energy in, but this can also be putting a lot of energy into your physical health, into your like working out and getting yourself uh, uh, into a strong health um, focus so that you can sort of handle these busy new ventures that are opening up for you, Pisces. And There is an inspired excitement about it all, just so you know. So this is not laborious work, although the sixth house is hard work and can be frustration and can, so you want to take it slow and not get too over rambunctious with Mars, you know, take it easy because you can get frustrated with Mars in the sixth. And then with Jupiter in your fourth house, there's really a lot of expansion and movement happening in your real estate property or living or family, and things are expanding. And as far as like the most Pisces I know are in moving around quite a bit right now, or they don't have a really stable living situation. So it's possible with that Jupiter there, you're really not sure where it is you're supposed to live, but you're really in flux and you are learning a lot about perhaps what is or where is the right place. I mean, sometimes that third, sometimes Gemini is just busy and communicating and writing. And so perhaps you make some kind of a real estate deal here in this period. But then when Jupiter moves into Cancer and it moves into your fifth house, I mean, that's amazing. That's going to happen June 9th, where you have a very inspired new beginning around creative projects. You could get pregnant and have children, or the metaphor of that is a creative joint soul contracted partnership agreement with friends, collaboratives, there could be a entrepreneurial venture opening up for Pisces here. But again, there's such an emphasis on creativity. You are ruled by Neptune. Neptune is in Aries, your ruling planet, which is a very, very fired up, inspired, creative force coming through for Pisces. So most Pisces are in the creative field. But if you're not, you're inspired on an entrepreneurial venture, co-collaborative venture with the fifth house that brings you good money and good success, good everything, good visibility. It could put you on a stage in front of the public. That happens too with the fifth house. So Saturn in your fifth house joins the North Node on the 14th of April, where a big 26 degrees, 0.1, where you really do see a big shift and turn in your destiny, and a big pivot happens where you start this new venture where the old life of you is completely over and ended, and you now are really embracing your dharmic path with some sort of what's the word? Not fever, but with some sort of feverish passion, with sort of an alignment, feeling finally in alignment, and seeing that you can really go forward with something with the inspired creative force that's within you, and this actually works, and this is actually flowing. You feel like you're on the right track. And that Saturn in the North Node in your first house, completely shifting your life. I mean, I don't know if the Pisces after, because really these shifts and changes are occurring now, you're making decisions, but you don't see the full impact of these changes for a few months down the line. So I'm just seeing, I think most Pisces lives in about 2 or 3 months, you're going to see a pretty entirely new life opening up with much more inspired excitement and, shall we say, a new lease on life. That's the word I'm thinking of. There's a new lease on life for Pisces. That's going to be in the title. And I'm going to skip to that Pisces North Node. You know, it's going to be there for like 18 months, for another year at least. It moved into Pisces in January. So that would be next about a year and a bit, a couple months from now. So you're focusing with the North Node there on you're going to your life completely changes when you have the North Node in the first house. You move totally different locations, because you're Pisces and the South Node is in your relationship house. Is a good chance you let go of relationships, you let go of trying to control relationships, or you release a pattern of behaving in relationships where you're trying to control it or trying to make the other person happy or throwing yourself under the bus for the relationship. You're really letting that go and you're doing more you. You're discovering who you are and really wanting to explore your dharmic purpose. And in a way, it's very spiritual and creative, same sort of energy where you're really connected to the other realm, you know, and getting either spiritual awakenings that help you, shall we say, have more confidence in the flow of life, you relax more and let go of the stress energy of Virgo. So you feel more flow into your destiny. And it really works for Pisces, that energy. That's sort of you at your best, as it were. And then we have that full moon in your eighth house. And that is a perhaps ending of a relationship or or the accumulation of a relationship going to the next level and joint resourcing and pulling your funds together, perhaps getting a loan for this venture that you want to start, this creative project, or you get a contracted or a investment opportunity comes in to support this creative venture that you're on, this new entrepreneurial venture that's opening up for you. And with that new moon in your third house, and by the way, full moons in your eighth house can bring some triggerings of fears around finances, but this is happening at this midpoint of the month when I would say there's more chance that you end a contract and you sign a new contract of some sort. If you're a professional in the creative world, you end a contracted, perhaps you have a manager or somebody who's managing you, that contract ends, and then you sign a new one, or you find a shall we say supportive management and you sign contracts, things like that. Um, and then with the new moon in Taurus in your third house, there's that new financial auspicious beginning that's going to stabilize you financially for a good 30 years, or at least put you on that path that is in the right direction towards stabilizing your finances. And that new moon in your third house makes you busy, makes you again earning an income on around these new shifts and changes, or stabilizing or making it practical, or planning this new project, making it a practical plan to how it does bring you income and stability. And you're basically grounding this sort of a creative, imaginative vision that you've had for your life, because Pisces they live in that sort of creative, imaginative world. You now have these practical ways of grounding it, turning it into practical income, having it actually track and take you forward, and it's working. And then you see that this is actually stable and that this can stabilize you for a long time. And then perhaps some sort of contracts get signed that involve this new stability. So it's basically liberating you from karmic patterns. You're liberated here in this month, all around, just full on liberated to be your truest, authentic version of you on your true soul destined path, feeling like your dreams are coming true, basically. All right. I hope that was helpful. Thanks for watching. Namaste.